guys, thanks for joining me for an episode of the Booster Pack Rare Slot. That's right, on these little mini episodes, we share the tastiest part of the Booster Pack, the little part that you never want to miss, because these episodes, we talk about a specific TCG topic. And on this week, we actually have an exclusive excerpt from our interview with Chuck Kallenbach, where he talks about the games that Decipher never got a chance to make, the ones that they were offered or had the opportunity to work on, but never made it to market. It is fascinating to hear about some of those games and imagine what we could have gotten way back when. Now, also later in the episode, Chuck also shares some memories about playing Magic's original format. That's right, the format where it wasn't 60 cards, it was only 40 cards, and there was no card limit. If you wanted to pay 20 Mox Sapphires and 20 Time Warps, you very well could. Anyway, I'll leave the rest to the episode and the interview taken from our original episode with Chuck Kallenbach on the core Booster Pack show. If you haven't checked that out, check it out as well. If you have any suggestions for little mini collectible game related topics as well, you can either leave them in the comments below or hit me up on Facebook on the CCG History Facebook page or Twitter at CCG History. All right, enjoy the episode. I hope it's very enlightening. I'll see you for the outro.
So you talked about getting the Lord of the Rings property. There was our lawyer and Warren. They would talk to somebody about getting a license, because that's what Decipher did, right? They got licenses. So they would come to us and say, I shouldn't name names, but I will anyway. They would come to us and say, Van Helsing. I said, oh yeah, there's a movie coming out, right? That sounds pretty good. And they gave me the script, and I read the script, and I said, no.
That was the what was that Hugh Jackman Van Helsing film?
And Kate Beckinsale, who I desperately love. I like Hugh Jackman too. Yeah, I don't know if it's, it was a Hugh Jackman. I don't know. It was not a good movie. And they said, well, you mean it doesn't have enough characters? What do you mean? And I said, it's not a good movie.
Right. So there was no design work. There was no game design work for a collectible game for Van Helsing ever done at Decipher. It was vetoed immediately.
Yeah, that was a lot of, they would come back and forth, and there would be talks. And at one point they said to us, I think this has been outed by somebody else. Would you like to do a Matrix card game?
Wow.
And
okay.
Our assessment was there's not enough characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
there's a lot of Agent Smiths though.
Yes. That's like the rats. You can have as many of these in your deck as you want. Now, looking back on that was the wrong thing to say, because I can think of a lot of ways that game could have happened. Mm-hmm. But we decided we were going to do trading cards for Matrix. We're going to start doing trading cards. Okay. Because, we're good with foil stuff. We're good with all kinds of stuff. And so we went out to the office of the Wachowskis, which was near Venice Beach in California. And you walk in the door, and there's the big red chair at the beginning of the movie that Morpheus is sitting in. It's right there at the end of the hall. I don't know if it's there anymore. And you turn a corner, and there's like the squids. There's like a giant 6 foot tall squid laying on the ground.
Wow. So
we went there and we took, we were pulling photographs. I think they were set photographs. I'm not sure. But we were pulling basically 4x6 photographs of all the main characters and things to make the trading cards.
Yeah.
And I remember Dan Burns, our art director, was there. And he said, have you been through that Monica Bellucci box there? I said, no, we take all those.
You know what's going to sell? They put that on the poster for the set. That's going to sell.
Yeah. So I can also tell you that we read all 3 scripts before the second and third movie came out.
Wow. Okay. So
we were sitting in a room in Burbank in California at Warner Brothers, where the water tower is that, the Animaniacs come out of that place. And
I'm familiar. Yep.
And so there's all these scripts, and there's just a wall of scripts all in the bookcases. And there's lots of multiples, like, here's a script for movie X, and there's like 5 of them. There's a whole bunch of, different revisions. Anyway, so they gave us the scripts, and they gave us, I think I was reading the second movie, and I said, well, and then Anthony was reading, a lawyer was reading the third movie, and I said, well, I think this looks pretty good. And they said, well, you read the third one. And I said, oh, okay. So read the third one too. The amazing thing about the Wachowski scripts to me is that if you read a movie script, it often says there's a car chase, and at the end, the Chevrolet rolls over and gets blown up. Those stunts like that are never figured out, in the script. But in the Matrix scripts, everything, they storyboarded everything. every shot, every move is in there. I've never ever seen a script like that before. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
Yeah. Well, they are such a visual pair of filmmakers, right? Like they are so visually driven. Obviously, you know, a million examples, including Cloud Atlas and the Speed Racer movie. They are very visually delightful filmmakers. Essentially, they're bringing anime style work to life with those sort of films, right?
It's very exciting.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit more. Okay, so your biggest complaint with bringing Matrix on would have been that there wasn't enough characters. Would you have had the liberty at Decipher again to add to that lore and bring original characters into it? Was that ever discussed?
I think that's probably not going to happen because the Wachowskis were very controlling of their property. And I think the idea of adding things like that, it's possible. The first set you do for a licensor is the tough one. It's the test, you know. It's like, well, we don't know what CCGs are. What are you going to do? Well, we're going to do this. Well, how did you do? Well, they did good. So the second time it's like, okay, make some cards. We'll look him, you know, everything gets easier once they see what you can do the first time, which is perfectly fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not like you can look at Star Wars and say they're going to make a great Lord of the Rings game. It just doesn't work that way. But I can tell you that the lady who used to okay things for us from Tolkien Enterprises, we sent her a set of, I don't know, 180 cards or something. And the response was, looks great.
Wow. Okay. That's some easy feedback to digest. Wow. Can you imagine if Decipher had brought out a Matrix CCG or even a Van Helsing CCG? I would have loved to have seen what those designers would have done with those properties. And maybe they could have added to that lore as well. Okay, so for the next part of the episode, Chuck reminisces about his years playing original style Magic. That's not vintage, that's not legacy, that predates both of those. This is the 40 card decks with no card limit. So if you wanted to play 20 Black Lotuses and 10 channels and 10 fireballs, it was a free-for-all, go for it. It's actually just really interesting to hear as somebody who wasn't there to experience it, or maybe as somebody who was, you can reminisce. All right, I will see you for the outro. Enjoy Chuck's convo.
Since I mentioned Magic again, let me tell you one more thing. We played Magic from the very beginning. We were railing at the idea of 60 card decks. Oh my God, this is terrible. But
you old timers.
But in like 90, after the 60 card, 4 card limit, 95, 96, whatever, we had our local gaming.
94, yeah.
And I ran a tournament. I said, we're going to show everybody this is how it used to be played. So we had a bunch of guys playing 40 card decks with no card limits. There was the guy with a whole bunch of Moxas and not Brainstorm, Brain something. Anyway,
Brain Geyser,
yeah. And he kept his cards in like some crappy game deck box, and he didn't use sleeves, and he just slapped them on the table. And then there was a guy with a Channel Fireball deck, and I said, well, let me check. Why was I checking in their deck? It's like, is it have 40 cards? That's all I need to do. So anyway, I'm going through his cards. He said, and they were in sleeves. And he said, oh, please be careful with those. I channeled in my Fireball. So, went through that. So we played a couple games, like 6 deep around the tables, like, oh no, he played 3 boxes in 1 turn. Oh my God. People that hadn't seen this, that was awesome.
Turn 1 kills. Yep.
So we got to the finals. By the way, there was a guy with a Scheherazade deck. He had like 5 or 6 Scheherazades. And to his credit, he never held up the tournament. He was never the last guy playing.
Wow.
He was just barreling through. I love that card. It's a fun card. Anyway.
That's so fantastic. Well, the Scheherazade idea, for anybody who doesn't know, is Scheherazade. You play Scheherazade and it starts a sub game, and you take the cards that you still have left in your deck and you play another game. The idea of a Scheherazade deck is that you keep doing this until your opponent has run out of cards, and then they lose once they get back to the main game because they have no cards left. It is a fantastic thing.
So the finals for this game was my friend with all the boxes and the blue cards and the Channel Fireball guy. So I said, okay, let's go. And I turned around to write something down, and I heard my friend say, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? He goes, yeah, I got it. I say, okay, we're done. Yay! So he Channel Fireball.
So what you're doing there is you're talking about if somebody's opening hand has the right 3 cards in it or 4 cards in it, it's an instant win deck. It's obviously famous. There's a very famous Magic content channel named after that combo. Fantastic story. Did you guys, you didn't operate any banned and restricted list in this little tournament?
No. Those were, this was old school.
This was Smash Mouth Magic at its best. Shout out to, there is still a community. I mean, it's an expensive buy-in if you're only getting into it, but there's still a community, not even old school. There is a community called Alpha 40 that specifically play this particular type of Magic, where it's 40 cards, no restrictions, literally turn 1 kills for every deck. It's whoever draws first.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
you know,
they
people
play.
Say, boy, Magic was so great. What was it like playing at the beginning? And I said, well, some of the games didn't last very long.
Nope.
And those games are always fun for the guy who wins and not so much fun for the guy who didn't.
Yeah. Well, you had the infinite turn decks with the, what is it? Time Walk or Time Twister?
Time Twister.
Walk, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Time Twister. Yeah. The infamous Power 9. Well, there you have it. Another little episode of the Booster Pack Rare Slot. That's right. These are topic-driven episodes, as I said in the intro, and I would love to hear what you want to hear about pertaining to collectible games. You know, suggestions include what's it like designing physical games over digital trading card games, or what's it like balancing a CCG. Not every single one of these episodes will be an excerpt from a previous interview from the core Booster Pack episode, but these early ones will be. Once we get rolling with them, though, we will have original interviews to bring. So suggest those topics that you want to hear about pertaining to collectible games, and we will try and bring you an episode on that specifically. All right, that's it for me. As I said in the intro, you can find me at Facebook with the CCG History page, at CCG History on Twitter. You can subscribe here if this is your sort of thing, or if you have any feedback, let me know as well. All right, in the meantime, that's it. Keep shuffling.